Today's guest is Royston A Cumberbatch, an expert in finance, business and investing with a career spanning 30 years. He now empowers business owners and entrepreneurs to make better decisions and get higher returns, that is, profit after tax. He does this by using his unique profitable business blueprint and proven profit generator system. But what I found really interesting about Royston was really the rags to riches story. He comes from a humble background. He was rejected by his father, who abandoned him as a child. And when he went up to catch up with him in Canada later in his 20s, that led to a period of depression. But then he turned his life around, put himself through college, became an accountant, worked his way up in the insurance and finance industries, and transformed his life such that he now has a property portfolio and a net worth in excess of £2 million. What's nice is that he hasn't forgotten his roots or the path to success. He now makes it his mission to share his knowledge, supporting others in growing their businesses to become highly profitable, tax efficient and sustainable, including building reserves to help weather recessions. I hope you enjoy. Royston, welcome to Wicked Problems. It's great to have you. I understand you're actually, doing rather well these days, but it hasn't always been the case, right? And I think it'd be great if you would just sort of give us the background and tell us your story.
Thank you. Well, Toby, first of all, thank you for having me on the program today. And yes, I would like to share my story, and hopefully it's going to inspire a person or two. So my story starts off over in Grenada in the Caribbean. I think I just managed to clip the 90s. I was born in the 60s. I was born in 1969. And I remember most of significant events since I was like probably 3 years old, but probably start off around the age of 8, My dad, I remember him leaving the island and leaving me with just 2 goats, right? And by the time I was around 10, I actually had about 12 goats, sheep, dogs, rabbits, and all this kind of stuff. But a big event also happened in 1979 over in Grenada, which was the born of the revolution. And while that didn't impact me that much, but by the time I was 12 years old, I found myself involved in the military, involved in the military. So very much from a very young age, I was involved in the military. But one of the things I really learned about the military and from my early life as a scout is something called discipline. And I think that discipline really lived with me and probably made me who I am today. But as you said, Toby, it wasn't always easy, because what happened, even during the revolution time, I struggled to progress in secondary school. I literally struggled to progress. And the revolution only lasted 4 years. So by 1983, it was all done. Many people might have heard of the famous American invasion of Grenada. I was actually live. I was there, I was actually involved to some extent. And it's kind of sad story what happened to the leader, but I wouldn't go into that today. What I will say is that after the revolution finished, I focused my life, I focused my intentions on becoming a very highly educated. Something I learned from the revolution, but also we were very poor people. I came from a very, very humble background. We were very poor. We never even had enough food to eat. And even the house that we lived in, when the rain come, we used to get wet inside, literally get wet inside. We used to have to put buckets to catch water inside the house. My mom was a nurse. She used to take food from the hospital to feed us. It was really tough. And I realized that education is a pathway to liberating yourself from, if you want to call it, poverty. But more importantly, I think what I've done is a challenge the assumptions and the expectations of what I was capable of achieving. And I really pushed myself. And I became the valedictorian of my school. I went on to college to do a few A-levels, and I was also doing quite well. And with that good education, that good background, I actually started mentoring and coaching some people even in my second year in college. And then I got a job on the Grandans Beach, which was very nice in Grenada, on the Grandans Beach. my first job, in finance, to learn all the different aspects of finance. But ambition is something that can be good and it can be bad if you don't have a plan. So what actually happened is that I decided to go to find my dad. We were exchanging messages. I never really knew the man. I said he left me when I was 8 years old. I never really remember anything of like him, what he was like physically. In those days, we just sent letters. So I decided to save some money up and go to Canada to find him. But I didn't really have a plan. I didn't have a plan. So I went to Canada to find my dad through a friend of mine's, and I actually found my dad. I found him. I actually hunted him out. I found him, and I went to his house, and he took half an hour before he came out to meet me. And my dad never gave me anything. He was really sad. He said to me, I told you don't come. So I was left depressed. I went into depression. I actually got in trouble with the law in Canada. And literally, I was back in Grenada within a few years' time. So you find me now back in Grenada in 1993, depressed, broken. Matter of fact, I was actually deported from Canada, to put it quite politely. And it left me really heartbroken. And I remember looking outside our window, and hungry as well, nothing to eat. And I realized, you know what happened? Let me go to the bush and dig a yam. So I dig a bush yam from the bush. That inspired me, It showed me actually, look, I can actually farm the land because, we are from a farming family. So I turned my hand to farming. And I farmed 3 acres of land with 2 guys. And many words, actually, that's where my real business career started. It started back then in probably around 1994, a long time ago. But what I did is that I farmed the land. I made a lot of crops. I went to the market, and I sold my crops mainly to what is called huskers on a wholesale basis. And I took the money I got from the land. I bought food that we didn't have. And I also started to enhance my mom's property. And then I eventually, I actually got a job as well in another hotel. And, while I was in the hotel, I realized that, I'm doing okay. But hey, the chief accountant, she's from England. Her name is Caroline Davis. She was like, wow, she's doing exceptionally well, She's got the benefits. She's got a room in the hotel. She got a house. I'm like, wow. And that's because she was the chief accountant. So I realized, what happened? I want to become a chief accountant. So I actually started studying. I remember going to a firm. I got all the papers. I signed up. I started studying. And that was the birth of me, like, starting to become an accountant. And I ended up becoming a CFO for a small bakery back there. And life was good. I was ambitious. And I'm like, what happened? These exams are so hard. I want to crack it. I want to do it. I had options of going to Trinidad to do it. But for some reason, one of my teachers back in secondary school, he told me that England is a good place, He told me that England is a place that people like me who do both business and science can go to a polytechnic. I didn't have a clue what that was, but he explained to me that there were polytechnics, like, I don't know, in Oxford or in these places, So I endeavored to come to England. I didn't know anyone here. Literally did not know anyone. I tried to join the Navy. I applied for a scholarship. I actually got a scholarship to Cambridge, but my grades was not good enough. I really tried. And it was a friend of a friend, one person who I knew here at the time. She said to me, if I got some money together and I came as a student, she will help me. So that's exactly what I did. And I decided to come and study to become an accountant. And in June 1997, I was on my way to the UK. I'm telling you something. Coming to the UK was was good to come to the UK, but it was really tough because I found that it was even not colder than Canada, but damper than Canada. And
well, yeah, we're famous for rain, right?
yes, it was really tough, I cried. I wanted to go back. I was like, no, I can't take it. It's like, although I lived in Canada, for some reason, the UK was so tough for me. I was like, and it's like, man, people here, I guess it's all inside. I felt depressed. I was in a small room. I don't know, because my life back in Grenada was starting to look very colorful, just before I sort of embarked it for England. I got depressed again, to be quite honest. Even though I was studying, it was really tough. I started doing a bit of drinking. But I picked myself up. I pushed through my exams. By the way, my first job paid me £3.30 an hour. I think if they could have paid me less, they would have paid me less. That was the minimum wage at the time. And anyway, to make a long story short, but precise and factful, I finished all my exams, but I really struggled to find a job. I went to 50 employment agencies, 50, sometimes 4 at a time, to just to get an interview. They're like, sorry, man, no experience in the UK. Sorry, man, no experience in the UK,
And you were looking for an entry level job, right?
I was already an accountant back home before I came here. I actually used to teach, by the way. One thing I missed out is that when I finished, while doing my farming back home, I started lecturing in evening classes. One of my mentors helped me. And so, yes, I was looking for an entry job. One thing I want to say, right, for my story, what led me to always going for more, I think, is people in the community, mentors, I call them, people who were doing well. And they always said to me, go for more, For example, like when I finished secondary school, I could have actually got a job. I got a job. But one of my mentors, he said to me, why take a job? You have the ability to do better. Don't settle for a job now. Go to college. I haven't got the money. So I used to do landscaping jobs in the evening time, So I know what it's like to hustle. I know what it's like to grind. And when I came to the UK and I was looking for a accountancy job, although I was qualified, I still had the hustler mentality. I was going to agencies. And eventually, I remember one day I was exercising on the treadmill, and I got a phone. I put my CV on the internet, and I got a phone call, and it started going on for very long. It's like, hey, man, I'm on this call for 2 hours. I didn't even know what to be headhunted meant, but I was actually headhunted for a company in the city, And I started off my career on Fenchurch Street. I was like, wow, 82 to 84 Fenchurch Street. I remember it like yesterday, an insurance company. I was like, wow, I am actually on the monopoly board now, I am actually on the monopoly board. And I was like, I actually started approaching my whole life as playing Monopoly. So literally, I started working in 2001. By 2002, I bought my first property. Yeah, literally. And since then, my career went on. I spent the last 19 years after that working in financial services across insurance, like people like Aviva, Lloyds Banking Group, Chosa. I understand London Market. I also work in asset management for Aviva investors. I also work in for Lloyds Banking Group, State Street. I work for some big names as well. And in the last 10 years, what I've done, on the side of building my property portfolio, on the side of working in the city, I've also set up what is called my accountancy firm.
Mm-hmm. This is RepMax, is it?
Yeah, it's RepMax. I've had different companies before that. For example, I've set up Integritas before, Integritas, with a friend. But he didn't have the guts to leave his job, to do the company. Even though we actually had someone who was paying us $5,000 a month part-time. And we had people want to work with us for free. And I realized that in life, fear can keep a lot of people back from doing stuff. And he didn't have that. I mean, I had the self-belief. I had the vision. I think he just had the aspiration. but he let fear kept him back. So yes, you're right. I said different companies, a couple of companies before. If people search my name, they will see I had many different companies, risk and controls, advisory services. But RepMax I actually set up properly from 2004, so 6 years ago. But I've been in business in the UK as an accountant, helping people for the last 10 years. And today, the last 7 months or so, or not last 9 months, I've completely left the city. And now all I do is I work with business owners, entrepreneurs, people who have a bit of money and they want to do a business. But more importantly, people who are committed, people who are hungry for more, I inspire people. I work with people. I share my story with them like I did today. But I also have the capabilities. I have the knowledge. By the way, I also did an MBA as well. I've done a lot of studies in the last 20 years, I've studied IT, I've studied project management. And today I'm really in a position where I can empower people. I have my own blueprint as well, which I use to show people how to grow a business and how to become highly profitable. And that's kind of the summary of my story. But yeah.
So it's an interesting story because you've gone through this whole, you grew up and then you didn't have your father there, then you wanted to find your father, he wasn't interested, you got deported. I mean, that might send some people into a spiral from which they don't recover, but you then, as you said, picked yourself up, did the work, did the studies, got yourself to England, and here you are now. And you talked about fear, and I think I just wanted to ask you a bit more about that because here we are, COVID-19. I hate to bore on about it, but it's still a thing, and a lot of people are losing their jobs, and so there's a lot of fear around. And I wondered if you had any advice for those people, because they're going to be out of a job anyway. So is this a good time for them to try and start thinking about starting a business, or what words of encouragement might you have?
Yeah, so what encouragement I have, obviously, I think fear is one word. Faith is another word. Yeah. So what is faith? Now, obviously, I'm not talking about just a religious belief. I think faith is to know that I am capable of doing something.
So when you say faith, you mean faith in oneself?
Faith in oneself. Faith in oneself. Faith in one is, but faith also has to do with, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? Am I just here to struggle? Am I just here to survive? Or if you really understand, humans, you understand we were obviously evolved. Yes, we actually realize, hang on a minute, I actually have something in me that is even stronger than what my physical body might be able to do. My mind, for example, my mind is actually stronger than my physical body, And I always say to people that our beliefs, which is obviously linked to our faith, our self-belief, our beliefs drive our thoughts, yeah? And our thoughts are so powerful. For example, if you read books, for example, like As a Man Thinketh, or you read, for example, a book by Napoleon Hill as, Think and Grow Rich, you know what I mean? And you actually realize that these books talk about the mind and the power of thought, the power of thinking. And what I'm saying to you is that with the faith and with the power of thinking, what that then does drive, actually, it drives our decisions. So if you have lost your job, what are you deciding to do? Are you deciding to just go into depression mode? Or are you deciding to research the internet? Or are you deciding to see how you can do something else? Because then our decisions drive our actions. If you don't think right and you don't make the right decisions, then our actions then may not give us the best results.
Because we'll take the wrong action.
Because we take the wrong action.
Right.
Or maybe we have a reaction. You know what I mean? So it's a wrong action or reaction. So that's why it starts off, I would say, with faith and self-belief. And believing that, look, this situation is temporary. I also said to people, right, there is no situation that's permanent. Just think about it. Even COVID is not permanent. There's been, look, I haven't studied the different big viral that they have, whether it's, I don't know, There's been many, many things. I don't want to call a name, but different pandemics happened before. It happened before and it's over. Nothing lasts forever.
So, for example, the Spanish flu of 1918 or whenever it was.
That kind of stuff. World War One came and World War One finished. World War Two came, is finished. You know what I mean? Just think about it. Brexit is here. Brexit will be over. You know what I mean? Nothing lasts forever. So the question is, are you visionary? Can you see beyond where we are now? Because if you can't see beyond where we are now, you will be stuck. So what you want to do is allow your mind to think beyond where we are. But that's quite tough. And what you might want to do is just reach out to people, mentors, reach out to people who can potentially help you. Because some people are visionary. I consider myself to be very visionary. You know what I mean? So you want to work with people who could potentially see beyond your circumstance.
And you consider yourself to be visionary because you had visions of your future at various points in your life, and that anchored you in the future, so you were able to go forward and into that future at some point.
Yes, correct.
Right.
So for example, I remember when I was doing the farming, by the way, that's when I had the vision of coming to the UK. After I got deported from Canada, I went back, I was doing the farming, I was like, what happened? I'm going to go to England. I don't know how. I haven't got no money. I don't know anyone, but I had a vision. And when the rain was falling, actually, and I was in this lush green garden, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to, I felt like I had all the power to go to England, And that's why it's, in addition to faith, there's something called self-will. There's something called self-will. There's also conscious of time. I can't give all the substance here.
No, of course.
But there's something called self-realization. So, by the way, I'm saying all these things, and that's because I have studied metaphysics, I have studied psychology and philosophy and theology. I haven't just studied accountancy and business, right? I've literally studied the philosophy of life. And what I'm saying is that the first step to come out from where you are right now to where you want to be in the future is something called self-realization. To know who you are, know why you are here, and know what you are capable of. And you are capable of much more than you even think or believe.
Okay. So I think that sounds like, it's good in that what you said there is, very, it's positive, right? That's the word I'm looking for. It's positive. Tell me more about your story then. Pick it up from... So because I think you talked earlier, you thought about your life as a Monopoly board.
Yeah, correct. As I said to you, what I've done is that I bought my first property. I bought my first property in Malden, and obviously, look, I had a son, so I on a property with a garden. You know what I mean? I looked around. I didn't want a flat. Bought my first property, for £150,000. Back in 2002, the market started going up. I learned about, leveraging equity. I took the equity out. I bought some land back home. Then, obviously, from the land back home, I think I sold the land. I got some more money, Then I bought the next piece of land back home. And, right then, eventually, I bought a second flat in the UK, up in Birmingham. Then obviously that went up. I sold that. I invested in a property back home with a group of people. It's called co-funding for some people who don't know what this is. Then in the last few years, I bought a big piece of land for my aunt, who was like my second mom. And then she built a house there. And then I bought a house from her. Then I built some apartments. And basically, eventually now, I'm in a position now whereby I have a property portfolio that can give me income that even if I don't work, I can still make money. And then my vision right now, which actually what I'm doing right now, I'm setting up something called the Online Academy. Yeah, I'm setting up something called the FBI Academy, Finance, Business and Investing Academy. Also, last year, I actually wrote a book last year. And that book is called Money Management for Entrepreneurs and Business Owners. That book is on Amazon.
So could you say the name of the book again?
Yeah, Money Management for Entrepreneurs and Business Owners. It's on Amazon. I plan to write a next book this year. I've already gone through halfway of it. It's going to be called The Journey. The Journey. Yeah, which obviously it's kind of my journey. But I think it's going to be called something like, the 7 dimensions of building wealth, which will cover things like, social, environmental, physical, spiritual, that kind of stuff. So look, my life right now is about giving back to people, giving back to society. I also spend lots of my time now, as I said, doing events. Last year, I started to do some events as well, out in the in London as well. Some free events, but now I run webinars as well online, and I speak to people weekly.
And these are aimed towards entrepreneurs and business owners?
Yes, correct. It's focused on entrepreneurs, business owners, people who, it doesn't matter where you are, because I've helped people who have gone from, say, being an electrician with just himself and some 2 men to having a team of people and 6, 7 vans, having 3, 4 properties. I've helped people. I'm helping people now who have a good business, but they want accountability. I'm helping people who wants to just do a completely new business. I'm helping people who are right now. I'm helping a lady. Her turnover is already $500,000, and she wants to go to $2 million. I've also saved a business as well that was already making $1.5 million, but the owner didn't have any knowledge of finance, and one of his directors colluded with the accountant and robbed him $100,000. I've saved that business as well. So look, overall, I'm in a position where I'm in a good position now, where I am not worried about money, and also where I'm in a position where I can really help and inspire people, and I can really give them the tools, the strategies, systems, and the capabilities to take not just their business to the next level, but their mindset, their vision to the next level.
That sounds great. What do people who, maybe some people listening to this might want to look at your services, they might want to find out a bit more with a view to maybe getting in touch, where would they go?
Obviously, my email is simple. It's roy@RepMax, RACMACS.com. That's my email. My website is www.repmax.com, RACMACS.com. Or you can find me. I have a second website as well. But that's basically the 2 best places. LinkedIn is a very, very good place. You can find me on LinkedIn, Royston Andrew Cumberbatch. You can find me on Facebook, Royston Andrew Cumberbatch. You can also find me on Instagram, Royston Cumberbatch. Or even I have a account called Money Management Education as well on LinkedIn. So I've got 2 businesses, which is Money Management Education and RepMax, RACMACS. And I'm also doing some personal branding as well, where I have some domains and some websites out there as well in my own name, Royston Cumberbatch. But look, I'm available to speak to people. I'm available to help people. It's what I do. It's what I love doing. And I would love to hear from some people who want some help and some free advice as well.
That could be, I think, you might regret that when your email inbox is so full.
Yeah, I know.
Because, but no, I mean, a serious note, I think there's a lot of people who might be very interested in that sort of thing, particularly with the times that we're going through at the moment. So I think that's a very kind offer.
Well, the thing is, I obviously we are stronger together, you know what I mean? If you understand the history, tribes, we did things in tribes and community. Obviously, these days, people get very siloed. But I do think that we are stronger together, we are each other's keeper, So, so obviously, reach out, and I'm here to help.
Royston, it's been a true pleasure. I think your story is a fascinating one, and I wish you the best of luck for the future.
Thank you very much. And it's been a great pleasure as well to have the opportunity and the privilege, Toby, of meeting you and doing this program today. And I hope it inspires at least 1 or 2 people.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you very much.